I've tried filming this like 3 times already, but today we're gonna be painting. And talking about books and life while I paint. I'm just gonna film up this intro right now because I feel like it. I'm getting changed and getting ready, but I thought today, since I have a big time block, I have time to like sit and start on my painting that I've been thinking about, and I thought I could just like sit and chat while I work on it and just like spew my thoughts on anything and everything. Yeah, that's today. I'm gonna get ready and then we'll get on with it. I'm very excited. In the car, if you couldn't tell, but I need to do an art store run because I need to buy some more turpentine, impasto medium, and maybe I need to pick up some more brushes, I think, and a palette because mine is wrecked. It is wrecked from last time. So that's what we're gonna do now, and then we can get started. I'm so excited. I haven't been able to find like a solid block of time to sit down and just do it because I need to sit for prolonged periods of time and really like get on with things because I can't, you know, I take my time. I need to take my time. But anyways, we're gonna go do that. Okay, I really hope it's not too noisy because it was raining before, but it's cleared up again. So, but there's the street. I don't care. I'm outside in my little makeshift studio. It's like a balcony. So I've got my canvas there behind me. As you can see, I still haven't unwrapped it. But I just came back from the art store. Let me give you a little haul of the extra things I got. But I got some of this disposable palettes just because I need it. I got a new fat brush with slightly softer bristles. I have this one which is natural bristles, but I wanted something a bit more synthetic for this one. So I got that because I needed it desperately. And then I need a new brushes as well because all the brushes that I have are from like high school time and they're like janky as hell and really cheap and gross. So I just got a little pack of synthetic ones. Yeah, it was on sale. They were having a lot of specials. So I got that. I got some more turpentine because I ran out last time. Like I used up pretty much this entire bottle for my last painting. And I also got some impasto medium because I want some thicker, I want to thicken up some stuff to create more textured bases and stuff. I think that's all I got this time for this run. Last time when I went to buy the canvas, I also got, where is it? I got this little tube of paint as well, and this really like pale rosy color because in my mind, for some reason, I see a base using more like this pinkish color. So I got that. I use Winsor & Newton paints oils, which I know is like expensive, but I would much rather invest on nice quality paints and have my painting look good, you know, instead of having the cheap stuff and have it just not work as well. So what I'm gonna do now before I open that up is I have this Artspoke book that I have that I sometimes read just because I like pulling from art history and theory-based stuff to try and conjure further ideas. And then we'll get started with painting the base layer and chatting away about life and birds and bats. Okay, I'm gonna start on the floor because I like walking around the canvas, but we're gonna start having a chat while I mix together my base. I'm gonna start off with this. Yeah, and my impasto. What have I been up to lately? Something that in terms of like my reading, I've been taking it quite slowly. I've noticed. I think I've slowed down my pace quite a lot just because I've also just been incredibly busy with uni and you know, life just sometimes takes a toll on you, and you just kind of get stuck. But I've been like reading now and then. I've been trying to get back into my routine of reading at night before bed, because that kind of fell off. And I've just been waking up kind of feeling really pissy. My friend has heard a lot about this situation of mine, you know? But I don't know. I haven't picked up Crime and Punishment in a while, just because I've been more of on like a contemporary kick. So I've been reading Kairos. I started reading that. And I'm about, I think, close to 100 pages in. So about a third of the way. I'm really enjoying it. I feel like the writing style is very interesting. The way that Jenny writes from, I guess, a third person perspective, but kind of implies the sort of different ways that the two people are kind of viewing their situation is quite interesting, which I like. It's fine. But yeah, I've been liking it. It's not what I really expected. I think I was expecting something a bit more dramatic, but I think that the pacing of it is a bit more flat, which I don't mind. Like, I like it. I think it's an easy read type of vibe, but yeah, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Do I have a real knife? Like, I think I have a little plastic knife. Usually when I want to get a thicker, more textured base, I just dry paint, but I am trying to sustain the life of these paints because, you know, they're nice paints. So I just added a bit of turpentine to this rosy pink, and I'm gonna mix in a bit of, I have some cloth to wipe things, but I'm gonna mix in some of this impasto. But yeah, that's my reading. I think right now those are the only two books that I have in my currently reading pile. I think what I want to do is I've been looking at surrealism, but I want to, because my general concept in hyperfixation that kind of set off this desire to paint again was the idea of painting synth and color frequency and like liminality, I guess. I think I correlate all of those very closely together, but I want to look at artists like Vasily Kandinsky, and I also want to look at Distill, and I don't know, I want to induce this sort of dreamlike state thing into the work. So I'm gonna play with that and see how I go. Oh no, I got oil paint there. That is great. That's amazing. One thing that I don't like is using, depending on the color, like that orange color that I showed before, I love using that color just straight up. I need to scoop this shit out. I don't like using colors straight from the tube. I do prefer mixing it with something else, but very specific circumstances lead to me using tube colors directly. But I might add some yellow ochre to this mix, depending on how the rest of this impasto mixes, because it's a lot more like saturated than I thought it would be. I thought it was gonna be a bit more pale of a pink, but it's more of like this deep salmony color, as you can see. So I'm just getting tons of it because I'm going to paint very thick onto the canvas as my base. I'm not using any primer on it. I don't know if this is already primed or anything, but I prefer not to, just because I honestly just can't be bothered, and I want to have it be more of a dried texture for the base. But that's my sort of reading recently. I feel like I used to have this thing in the back of my mind where I have to like get on with my reading and try and get through my books and my TBR and things that I want to read, so I can, you know, provide thoughts and be, you know, this sort of very broad, eclectic reader that reads a lot and expansively and can discuss. But at times I can get carried away. I feel like many people get carried away with wanting to read a lot of books, and you can kind of get lost and forget to read very consciously and actively. So I'm finding peace in reading less every month, as long as I'm consuming things a bit more intentionally, I guess. So I've been like reflecting a lot more on my character, because I've noticed I guess I've grown to be a very much like nothing's that deep type of thing. Like, I am not a very stoic person, I guess, at times. Like, I understand the concept of it, you know, and I do think it's good to incorporate it in your day-to-day thinking, but I think I have grown to find a lot of peace in not stressing out over so much, because there's so much that you don't have control over, which I guess to an extent is a bit of stoic thinking, you know. You can only control how you react to certain things, but, you know, getting stressed and sad over stupid little things, like what people think of you, like, so what if you don't like me, like that's your life and it's not impacting me. And I think that I've been thinking a lot as well about like tech and media has given us so much access to just communicate constantly, and I think we've grown to think that we have to be in constant communication, like every single day we have to be talking to each other, and I just think that's not natural. I don't think we're meant to talk to other people every single day of our lives. Crazy. But just because the option is there doesn't mean that you have to, you know, use it. And I think sometimes that can come across as like, to some people, if you're someone so used to it and you're kind of trying to drifting away from that pattern, some people can take it the wrong way, which is unfortunate. But I don't know, I'm just trying not to focus so much on how other people see it, because I know the intention behind it, and if I have to explain it, like I'll explain it, and if they don't understand it and can't take it, it's like that's unfortunate, but I'm gonna keep living my life because the world keeps spinning and I'm trying to stay sane. You know what I mean? But yeah, one thing I haven't really done much recently, I'm going in with this natural bristle thick ass brush starting. The most daunting part is just getting on with it. This is actually, no, I'm gonna mix the ochre color, give me a sec. But yeah, what was I saying? Wow, I'm amazing. Anyways, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right, I haven't been writing much, which feels a bit odd. I think maybe that's why I feel a little bit lost and on edge. I haven't really sat down to, you know, properly dissect my thoughts and my being and my current state of mind. But I've also found peace, because instead of writing, like journal writing and reflecting and things like that, I've been listening to music a lot more. I've been lying down like flat on my bed and putting headphones on and closing my eyes and listening to music and letting that and my thoughts process through music, which is why I think I'm obsessed with this idea of synth and I guess the dreamlike state, liminal spaces, things like that. I might look into psychoanalysis maybe. That's kind of interesting. Okay, yeah, this is a nicer color. But yeah, I've been doing that a lot more, but I do want to write a bit more. Maybe I'll do some note taking and reflecting. I'm adding some titanium white later today to help me process this work. But yeah, it's odd, but I feel that sometimes you can feel a bit of guilt for not writing. If you're someone like me, it's like you tell yourself at the start of every year, like, oh, I want to be more conscious and in touch with my thoughts and journal more and blah 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 and all that jazz. But I also want to allow myself to be okay with not having that urge to write, because I'll enter sort of phases where I will write twice a day, every day, like morning and night, non-stop, and it feels really good. But then I'll also enter moments where I don't have the will to do anything or produce anything, which is also completely fine, because this idea of having to be constantly producing something to show, it kind of, I don't know, it sucks the life and the purpose out of it. Because I think a lot of the time we also get carried away with wanting to produce things and have ideas and commentary on certain things, on the things that we consume, like art and books and things like that, because we have in the back of our minds, we thinking we're going to be talking to someone else about it, and how, your thoughts and ideas in relation, and how you're gonna, like, your thoughts and ideas, and the fact that you're gonna have to be communicating them to someone kind of impacts the way you consume the piece itself. So I don't know, I've been trying to do things more for me and my sake, and I guess making videos and talking about things are just kind of an extra thing. So I'm trying to take more of my time with them so I can consolidate and compose my genuine thoughts more clearly, and not something that will appeal to people necessarily. But yeah, okay, I'm just gonna start. This is actually really scary. This is the scariest part. I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of, I turned this into more of like a beigey pink, which I like a lot. So it's a very, very dry mixture as well. So I want to let clumps sit on the canvas as well. I've been wanting to write some more music, just because I think I have a lot that I've been thinking about going through that I need to make a song out of it, because I think it would be good. And I don't think this is the thing that I'm thinking about. I haven't really written much about before. I have written a lot about, past relationships with people. I write a lot about death, unfortunately. And like a lot about my mental state at times, and how I'm like in growing up and feeling kind of lost and defeated by everything. But I don't want to say what I'm thinking about, just because I want to keep it to myself first, and then I'll unleash it to the world. But I don't know, this topic that I'm thinking of, I haven't really ever written about. So. Yeah. Actually, I have this book that I did discuss in my, I think it was in my huge like vintage book haul video, and it's this book where a bunch of different scientists went through and interpreted, I think, poetry through their sort of lens and thinking, which I want to look at as a point of interest for this piece that I'm working on. I feel like that would be interesting, because I've been thinking about incorporating math and time, because I like having a part of the process itself holding significance and meaning, because it does for me. It's like one of the most important parts. So when people kind of look at canvases and they don't see much, a lot of the time meaning or interpretation is embedded in the process of it all. So people tend to not really look at that, which sucks, but like, come on. I'm just gonna get some, where did my other knife go? Okay. I'm just gonna get some more impasto and just keep mixing that and fill in the rest of the bits. My painting process is very intuitive. I don't have like, oh, this thing symbolizes this, blah, blah. Literally a lot of the time I'm not thinking about what certain things mean. I just kind of let it happen, because that's just how I do it, you know? Eventually things pop up and certain ideas come up and concepts that kind of mold into the imagery on the page, but really I'd rather not overthink things, because I just, you know, it can get kind of surface and cringe really easily. Not to say that people can, you know, plan things out to a T and have that be significant, but for me personally, I'd rather not. A little bit more about me is, you know, I talk a lot about books and literature, and that's very significant to me because it's such a big part of me growing up and growing into myself, and it's impacted how I think and all that jazz. And it was, as a kid, it was the sort of source of, I guess, safety when I was struggling to make and keep friends and feel like I belonged. So because we all kind of, we're growing up, we always want that sort of feeling. And I struggled with that a little bit. So I think books was a sort of safety net for me. But art always was a part of me, like since like a baby child, you know. I used to draw a lot, and I used to love images. And so when I decided to take high-level art in IB, and I think that was the point in my life where I really realized, like, wow, I think this is something that I would love to do for like the rest of my life if I could. But I didn't want to study it in uni because I feel like once you enter that realm of things, it can kind of, because you're forced within certain timelines and you have to do things a certain way to fulfill like the assessment needs of it all, which I don't fuck with. Sorry, like, no, I can't do that. You cannot force these sort of things out of me, especially because I much prefer working at large scale. Like, I wish, like, if I could work on a piece that's like ginormous, I would, but I just don't have the space or the facilities for it, so I don't. But I much prefer working on large scale, and I prefer working on multiple things at once as well. That's something I really liked to do, but I just don't think it would have worked if I decided to study that in university. And because at the time as well, when I was leaving high school, I was very interested in the moving picture and film, and I still am, of course. And I love writing like screenplays and playing with that sort of thing. But visual arts is like, if I could do that, I would. And I still might. I'm so young. I think I always forget to tell myself that, like, it's still a possibility. You still can. So I'm trying to do that less. I'm just going in with some just straight up impasto medium and filling in these sort of little gaps I'm blending the paint a bit. My hair is shedding and getting everywhere, which is so fun. Yeah, I think my art teacher really pushed me and my boundaries and unlocked something within me, bro. I don't know what it was, but he would always reiterate that. He thought that I was always gonna end up doing this somehow, and that I have something in me. And I think it's stuff like that that kind of sets me off. Okay, it's this sort of unbiased confirmation that, oh, maybe I am kind of good at something. Because you can be passionate at something and be really interested in it, but sometimes you feel you're not good enough at it to pursue it, and you don't, legitimize yourself as an artist, or, even if you can apply this to anything, like sports or anything, But once you get sort of external confirmation from it for someone that you look up to, or someone who has done this successfully, it gives you the drive to keep going. And this is what this is, I guess. For this piece, so as I said, I was looking at, I'm gonna add some yellow ochre to the impasto, but I was looking at this idea of synth and liminal spaces, the dreamlike state, psychoanalysis, blah blah blah. And I started thinking of vibration as well, because I associate synth with vibrations a lot. And I was thinking of incorporating, depending on which sort of colors I feel like working with, looking at the frequency of that color on the spectrum or whatever it is. I don't remember the proper names, but I remember studying this in physics in high school. But looking at those sort of color frequencies, so for example, like, I'm not doing it right now, but this sort of rosy pink would kind of be at 450 hertz. I don't know, but then deciding to find that, like, do the research on those certain things and certain colors that I'm using, and then using that color for a certain amount of time according to the frequency of it. So let's say if I'm painting with this pink color, this palish color, I'd be using it for 4 minutes and 40 seconds and then stopping and then taking a second and then moving on to the next color. I feel stuff like that would be interesting to play around with. But I don't know. I'm not doing it now because I want to get the base done. And I just feel like getting shit on. Sorry, I'm locking in. I wish I had, when I was in school, I got to use an airbrush, which was so cool. It was so fun. And I had this piece that I had these sort of little tiny squares that I painted all over it, kind of descending down through the piece. And then I taped off all the exteriors around the squares to keep a clean line with masking tape. And then we airbrushed sort of little circles, and it looked like tiny little frosted windows. And it was the coolest thing, and I wish I could use an airbrush because I feel like that would be perfect for this, but I don't have one, and I don't have the facilities to have that huge vibrating motor in here. So we're just gonna have to make do with doing that by hand, which is doable. It's fine. As you can see, this is what it's looking like. It's very much saturated in color. I want to add some more white and kind of go over everything with this impasto. There's definitely some texture in there, but I want thickness. I want some more thickness in there. So maybe I should have just put it directly on the canvas, to be honest. I feel like that could have been cool. I should have done that. Okay, maybe I'll just... The worst part about painting is that because I don't have a studio space that could contain studio space, like I'm outside on the balcony, I have to like really like pack up everything and deep clean everything every single time, which is not fun. So that is what I want. That, hold on, I need to show, because that's the sort of texture I want to sit and dry up on the canvas. Let me show. That right there, that is the goal, and to have that sort of, I need that randomly distributed all over the piece. I keep going at it. I think getting it directly on the canvas helps. And also a lot of time I paint very silently. I'm not used to talking while I paint, but I think this process is helping kind of take away from the daunting nature of starting a canvas, which has helped right now, as we can see. So. The brush is too wet now, that's why. It's way too wet. And I'm just dryly rubbing the excess off of here, and then I'll use some turpentine to get the excess shit out. This is just a spare calico fabric I had from previous sewing projects that I used for brush cleaning. So, ooh. Weather has been really weirdly unstable lately, which I like because it cools down a bit when it rains, but like, I don't know, man. It's kind of like getting on my nerves now because I can't tell if I need to take a jacket out these days or not, and I hate carrying jackets if I don't need them. Also, if anyone comes for me for how I treat my things, don't. This is my work and my process, and it is what it is. Close that before I cause any damage. I'm gonna take a pause. I'm gonna take a pause and let this be. The start is always the most annoying part because you have to wait until base dries a bit until so I can start doing the stuff I want to do on top of it. That's okay. It's okay. I'm content so far without space. I might go over some more with backstory again, but yeah, it's the vibe for now. I think that's it for today, or like I guess for this video. I don't think I'm gonna paint anymore today. Usually the start of my paintings are usually there's shorter sessions of painting, but that's okay. I thought I could make this like a mini series where it's more of like a sit down podcasty vibe where I just paint and just spew my thoughts and you know, general things that are in my mind at the time, which I think would be fun. So this is day one. I'm gonna title this as day one. Oh my gosh, you can see all the bruising and scratches. I went on a hike last weekend and it was a hard one, but it was good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I like making more laid back videos like this. Not to say that I won't be back talking about books exclusively and such, but I like to switch it up and expand, you know? But yeah, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Go follow my Instagram that I have if you want more like sort of constant updates and things like that on my happenings. I'll see you next time with another video. I want to post more music stuff as well, so hopefully that'll come as well. I'm gonna go have some food. I'm gonna have some lunch, and then I hope you have a beautiful, magical, wonderful day. And I'm sending you kisses through the screen.